Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Vijayendra Singh Tamar, Associate Professor in English, and at present I have been posted at Government College, Gudha in the Jhanjhanu district. In the series of video lectures, which is being prepared by me for the students of English literature, today's video lecture is meant for the students of Class BA Part 1st, Subject English Literature, Paper 2nd. And in this video, we are going to discuss about the explanation of Mahatma Gandhi's famous essay, Fearlessness. Though it is not a full essay, it is an extract from the commentary, but in our syllabus, it is prescribed. So we can say it is an essay. First of all, we should know about something about Mahatma Gandhi. As we all know, Mahatma Gandhi is a name. He is popular not only in India, but throughout the world. He was born in 1869 and died in 1948. He was a writer also. Being an Indian, he used to write in English. So we can say he's an Indo-Anglian writer, and he occupies an honorable place among Indo-Anglian writers. He is too well known in India and abroad, that is outside India, in foreign countries. His contribution to Indian political and social life is immense. Means he affected a large number of people by his personality and by his ideology. That is why he is called the father of nation. In some ways, the effect is still continuing. Even after 70 years, he is very effective. His watchwords were truth and non-violence. We can say he used two weapons. One is non-violence and other is truth. He worked for the upliftment of downtrodden and for women too. He was peacefully concerned with the moral values in society. He worked hard to spread the message of non-violence, truth, peace, social equality, simplicity, and whatnot. Means all the things, all the systems which are necessary for the free development of humanity. He advocated them. The essay entitled Fearlessness is an extract from Gandhiji's commentary on Sri Bhagavad Gita. In this piece, that is in this part, which is prescribed in our syllabus, Gandhi tries to answer questions like, what is man afraid of? How can he conquer fear? How he can become fearless? Now from here, we find the text which is prescribed in our syllabus. So the author, or because Mahatma Gandhi begins the essay with the sentence with the common assumptions that every reader of the Gita knows. Gita is a religious book of Hindus which contains the message of Lord Krishna. Gita is not the name of an ordinary book, it is a very great book. So every reader of the Gita knows that fearlessness heads the list of divine attributes enumerated in the 16th chapter. Means in Gita, there are 18 chapters. In 16th chapter, Lord Krishna describes one by one, the qualities which are godly, divine, godly, belonging to gods, attributes, qualities. And the number one place given to that quality is fearlessness. That is, Lord Krishna says, fearlessness is the first godly quality. Whether this is merely due to the exigencies of meter. Exigency means urgent need or demand, because that is written in couplet. So stanzas, he is just saying that whatever may be the reason that the first place is given to fearlessness. Whether the pride of place has been deliberately yielded to fearlessness, whether it is willingly given to fearlessness, is more than I can say. The author says, in his opinion, he can explain it in a better way. In my opinion, however, fearlessness richly deserves the first rank assigned to it, assigned given to it. According to Gandhi, God has rightly given the first place to fearlessness among the godly qualities. Now he gives the reason. Gandhiji gives the reason. He says, for it is indispensable, means absolutely necessary. We cannot ignore it for the growth of other noble qualities. Gandhi believes that if you have fearlessness in your abilities, qualities, then other qualities will develop naturally. How can one seek truth? He questions. He tried to explain by giving example ki, or cherish love without fearlessness. If a person is afraid, he is all the time is full of fear, he cannot find truth, he cannot enjoy love. One can enjoy truth, one can enjoy love only when one is fearless. As Pritam says, the path of Hari, that is the Lord, is the path of the brave, not of cowards. That is, if we are after God and we believe in something, then if we can die, we can sacrifice anything. That is our real belief. That is why it is said, the path of the brave is the path of Hari, not of cowards, not who are afraid. Hari here means truth. Those who want to follow truth, who stand for the truth, they are always brave people. Brave are those armed with fearlessness, not with the sword, the rifle, and the like. There are many weapons, carnal, physical weapons like sword, rifle, and other weapons. If a person has those weapons, according to Gandhi, he cannot be a fearless person. A fearless person is the really brave person. These are taken up only by those who are possessed by fear. Because carnal weapons like rifles, sword, they are used by those people who are coward, who are afraid of something. Now, next paragraph. Fearlessness connotes means imply or suggest an idea or feeling in addition to the literal or primary meaning. Means it suggests fearless, what's the freedom from all external fear. That there should not be any kind of fear in the mind of a fearless person. For example, fear of disease. We should not be afraid of disease, bodily injury, and death. Of dispossession, of losing one's nearest and dearest. Dispossession means of losing property. Your property will be taken away from you by force. You should not be afraid of this fact. Losing very near and dear one, or losing reputation or giving offense. He may become without he may lose his prestige, reputation, giving offense, and so on. etc. The idea is a real fearless person is that who is not afraid of sacrificing anything for the sake of his belief, or that belief is truth, path of truth. One who overcomes the fear of death does not surmount is the word, does stand or be placed at the top of all other fears. Because there are some people who can overcome the fear of death. It doesn't mean that he has attained a position from which he will be not afraid of any kind of fear. It is as is commonly but erroneously supposed. It is a mistake to think so. It's a person who is afraid of death, is not afraid of death, doesn't mean that he is the really brave person. Some of us do not fear death, but flee from the minor ills of life. There are people among us, even we can be, who are not afraid of death. They can sacrifice themselves easily, but they will be afraid of ordinary minor problems of life. For example, some are ready to die themselves but cannot bear their loved ones being taken away from them. Means one can sacrifice his life easily without any fear, but when he finds that his near and dear ones are in danger, he may not be able to face it as bravely as he faces himself. Some misers who do not spend money will put up with all this. Means they will be ready that their near and dear ones will be taken away, will part even with their lives. They will die. They will sacrifice their own life, but not their property. But these miser people will not give their money. Others will do any number of black deeds in order to uphold their supposed prestige. There are many people who can do any kind of misdeeds, black deeds, just to protect their honor, which may be just in the eyes of others. Some will severe change or cause to change direction abruptly, suddenly, from the straight situation characterized by a specified degree of trouble or difficulty, and narrow path means there are certain situations in which we find that we will certainly face these problems. This is the narrow path. There are some people who will change their path thinking this, which lies clear before them, though the path may be very clear before them, simply because they are afraid of incurring the words odium. Incurring becomes subject to something unwelcome or unpleasant as a result of one's own behavior or action. Means you can say annoyance of the people. Odium, hatred, widespread hatred and disgust, you can say. Just to protect them from the hatred of the people, they will change the right path. The seeker after truth must conquer all these fears. Gandhiji says that if you are a true seeker of truth, then you must overcome all these fears. He should be ready to sacrifice his all in the quest of truth, even as Harishchandra did. The person who is after truth, who wants to know the truth, or who is walking on the path of truth, should sacrifice everything that belongs to him. As King Harishchandra did in our mythology, it is said that Harishchandra sacrificed his kingdom, his wife, his son for the sake of truth. That is why he is remembered even today. The story of Harishchandra may be only a parable, a story used to illustrate a moral or spiritual lesson, maybe a story, but every seeker will bear witness to its truth from his personal experience. He will be, every person who wants to walk on the path of truth will experience this. And therefore, that story is as precious as any historical fact. That is why, whether it is a parable or historical fact, but if we keep the message in it, then it is as precious as any historical fact. Perfect fearlessness can be attained only by him who has realized the Supreme, that is God, who has who has come to know about the Supreme Power, that is Almighty God. He will become fearlessness. He will be full of fearlessness, or perfect fearlessness in a way, as it implies freedom from delusions. Now, what is the meaning of delusion? Delusion is idiosyncratic belief or impression maintained despite being contradicted by reality or rational argument, typically as synonyms of mental disorder. Means keeping something in mind, believing something which is totally opposite as far as rational reality is concerned. One can always progress towards this goal by taking determination and constant endeavor, and by cultivating self-confidence. And one can believe in truth by continuous efforts, by developing in oneself self-confidence, one can achieve that. Now, as I have stated at the very outset, very beginning, the author says, as he has stated, author means Mahatma Gandhi has stated in the beginning, we must give up all external fears. We should not be afraid of any kind of fear. We should give up all physical fears. But internal foes means enemy, we must always fear. But there are many enemy of human beings which are inside his mind or body, you can say. We must be afraid of them. We are rightly afraid of animal passion. For example, our passions means an instant feeling. For example, anger and the like. Sometimes we commit mistakes, crying in the fit of passion, that is anger. So we should also try to overcome these passions. External fears stop of their own accord, agreement or harmony. The external fear will automatically disappear when once we have conquered these traitors within the camp, that is within our mind, other enemy of humanity, such as anger, passions, hate of moment, etc. All such fears revolve around the body as the center. The author says all the fears of the world, they revolve around because of human being is physical existence, and will therefore disappear as soon as we get rid of attachment for the body. And Gandhi says, if we give no importance to our attachment for the body, all the fear will roll away, will disappear in a moment. We thus find that all external fear is the baseless fabric of our vision. Fabric structure, it is the based on the baseless structure of our vision. Fear has no place in our hearts when we have shaken off attachment for wealth. Means if we do not give any importance to wealth, family, and the body, all fear will naturally keep away themselves from our body or our mind. There is a proverb, it says, enjoy the things of the earth by renouncing them, by discarding them, by not giving any importance to them. if you will enjoy, it is a noble precept. Precept guidelines. It is a noble guidelines. Wealth, family, and body will be there. Gandhi says all things will be there. Just the same. We have only to change our attitude towards them. Means we have to change our mental thinking as far as these things are concerned. Wealth, family, and body are concerned. All these are not ours, but God's. We should believe. We should cultivate a ideology that these are not ours, these are God's. Nothing, whatever in this world is ours. There is nothing which can be stated that this belongs to us. Even we ourselves are His. We should believe that we, our own soul, is the gift of God and we belong to only God. Why then should we entertain any fear when we are not anything? We are not any entity. So why should we be afraid of? The Upanishad therefore directs us to give up attachment for things while we enjoy them. We should not associate that this is mine, etc. We should leave such kind of attitude and enjoy the things. That is to say, we must be interested in them not as proprietors but only as trustee. We should enjoy things not as a proprietor, is owner of the things. That these are the owner of these things is Mr. So and so, not like that. But we should enjoy them like trustee. Trustee means an individual person or member of a board given control power of administration of property in trust with a legal obligation to administer it solely for the purpose specified. Means you are not the owner, you are just a trustee. If you believe this, you will enjoy, you will be fearless. This is Dr. Ryan. We must be interested in them not as property but only as trustees. Okay. He on whose behalf we hold them will give us the strength and the weapon requisite for defending them against all usurpers. Usurpers who takes unlawfully possession of something illegally. Then if we believe that if anybody will try to usurp that thing, God will give the strength and will take care of that. We should not think about that. When we thus cease to be masters, when we stop to be the owner of anything, reduce ourselves to the rank of servants, and then we will become, our attitude will be like the attitude of servants, humbler than the very dust under our feet. All fears will roll away like mist. When we develop this kind of attitude, all kinds of fears will disappear just as mist disappears when sun shines. We shall attain ineffable peace. Ineffable, that cannot be described in words or expressed in words. Peace, and see Satyanarayan, God of truth, face to face. We will feel that God is in front of us and He is giving us everything. We will really enjoy everything. Thus, we find that in this essay, Mahatma Gandhi has given a great message, and he has also taught us how we can attain fearlessness. The language used by the world is quite easy. Simile and other figure of speech are highly suggestive and they put the idea into mind clearly. Chapter is very effective and we find it very impressive. It makes an indelible impression on the mind of the reader. Thank you very much.